those of you who haven't heard of Mary before, let me just fill in the gaps for you here. Get ready, folks. It's an experience. It's a positive experience because Mary brings with her what I call that divine feminine energy. Sometimes I affectionately even call her Scary Mary, but it's Scary Mary in the best of ways. And Mary is a star shaman, a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and a mystic. She was born on Halloween, no less, and did the first psychic call-in show in the Tampa area in the 1980s. And you can get a full reading and enlightenment session from Mary over at our website. Check it out. It's www.marydusina, and that's Mary, DUSINA.com. And like I say, she's here once a month with me for the full moon. It's Mary DeAsina. How you doing, my good friend?
Oh, hello. Our captain from Scotland, Captain Kev. I still like the ring of that. I know you don't like to be called captain or sir, but I like the ring of it because you're our Scotland connection. Australia and Scotland and Canada and Alaska and Europe. It's magic. It's just magic. And we are magic. We need to remember that, when 3D Earth life tends to challenge us with the divisiveness of politics or news or a bit of a challenge of the difference of beliefs. If we can just focus on being that kindness principle and that generous principle and show up authentic in this world, for this life, for this walkabout, then truly we raise the vibrations of ourselves as well as anyone that is an open door or an exit door. And that's pretty much what this full moon is, Kev. This full moon is about, are you opening a divine door, or are you falling down the basement of your past?
I mean, this is intense. I think we all are at a fork in the road, for lack of a better term, Mary, where...
That's perfect.
That waits. One path, it's where we want to go. It's the positive path, and yet the other path, it's the negative way. I would like to think we're helping to steer people towards the positivity. And that's why I really like hooking up with you once a month. And of course, you're going to be back here for a very special date on the 26th of May. We're going to be celebrating the lunar eclipse. And of course, you're going to be back on before that with our good friend over at Fringe FM, Joe Roop, and Lighting the Void. And that's going to be on the 11th, right?
Yes, sir. On the new moon, it's with our Captain Joe Aries, and with you, it's on the full moon. So we've got all the lunar bases covered. The moon is that great satellite in our Milky Way, beautiful star, river of stars, satellite. And so what it does is when the moon is full, it's pulling the effluvia, the flow of the waters of our Earth temple, up towards the brain. And so we get words like moody or lunatic because it's a lunar shine. It's moonshine in the best of ways. And so this particular full moon, we have, and I, as you know, Kev, I can talk all kinds of high dollar astrological jargon words. I don't want to do that. To me, the art of the celestial field of astrology, the art as a tool is to, as above, so below, bring the heavenly language down to our earthly life. So when we think about right now in the Western zodiac, a lot of planets are bunching up in Taurus. Now, last month when we spoke, we had a bunch of stuff going on in Aries, the Ram, it's Passover, it's Easter, it's like, we're ready to just branch out and go for it, and there's a lot of impatience. And then we come to the second Western zodiac sign of Taurus, the Bull. And any of you that have ever gazed into a pasture, there's a big difference between a mountain ram and a bunch of goats and a pasture of cows. They're very serene. They're happy to be chomping the grass and the beautiful spring flowers. They don't bother anybody, and you don't need to bother them because they just want to be fed and enjoy the sunshine out in the pasture and do what cows do. And so there's a lineup in planets of Taurus, and when you think about the full moon in Scorpio, and it is a supermoon, if you think about the full moon in Scorpio, let's look at that sign polarity for a minute. Scorpio is about self-mastery. It's about our secrets, our secret self, the profound impacts of transformation. And when you talked about the fork in the road, I really like that visual because sometimes when you say one side of it, can be, the suffering or the shadows of the negativity, here's the thing for all of us to remember. A lot of people I talk to have been exhausted. They feel like that they've literally been on an excavation of intense emotions, and we can't slip into the habit of blaming everything on the 2020 dynamic. Instead, we have to take responsibility right now and say, maybe that road of negativity and suffering, maybe I put my foot on that path unconsciously sometimes because my normal might have been fraught with abuse or intensity or negativity or all kinds of things that were like a spiraling circus of drama in my childhood with my parents, with life circumstances, financially or emotionally or psychologically. So here's the thing I think it helps us to remember as we're continuing to embrace empowerment and summon divine, holy, sacred illumination is that first, I think it helps us consciously to realize, whoa, wait a minute, my normal, air quotes, in my early childhood, in my early life was very chaotic. It was for some people it was very scary. For some people it was very divisive. So familiar sometimes can be destructive. And we can tend to, as we evolve from toddlers to children, we're memorizing everything. And so our past dynamic, our past environment, we tend to think things as we get to a preteen, teenage age of like, well, I tell you what, when I grow up, no man's going to treat me like that. I'm not going to put up with that from blah, 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 blah. And what happens is as if we have this recorder inside of us, in psychology called a subconscious, and it didn't judge anything. It just recorded everything when we were that little lamb, when we were that little child. We recorded and took it all in, and it resides at a cellular level in our subconscious and our superconscious. And so whatever path that you now say, I'm choosing the path of light, and I'm going to embark on a vision quest on this path of empowerment and illumination and light. Now for me, I do summon up my sacred divine source guides. I do work with the Holy Ghost. It's been my navigating captain of choice this entire lifetime. And so when I find that I summon the divine source and I don't need to be in control, because often things in this life can throw us out of control, and such can be when we have a full moon in the fixed signs. So there's a bunch of planets lining up in Taurus, the bull, and that's more resistance. It's more, I only want to hold on to familiar. Don't push me to change. And we're thinking about in Taurus, when's the last time someone or something or the taste or the touch or the sound or the sight of something made me feel worthy and really rich in this life. So Taurus symbolically can be about our worth, what we deem as worthy. So whenever I'm talking to my clients in a Taurus season, about the third week of April into the third week of May, dates change a little bit from year to year, but that's basically it, third week of April, third week of May, is that we need to look at what is a debit in my life and what is a credit. So where am I investing, notice the financial terms, where am I investing my emotional, my psychological, my mental currency into avenues or choices that may end up being continual deficit or bounced checks where I'm not checking my behavior. So this is about what's draining your resources versus you turning around and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I have choice. Things may be pressurized right now. Scorpio will bring up the most hidden, the most private, the most intimate, secret desires or fears in our beingness. So this full moon is supposed to be shedding light on where we could make more of a conscious decision to let it be on the altar of the holies, to call in the Almighty I Am, to work with, if you're Buddhist, then practice Buddhism. This is the start of as we enter into May, this is the start of the high holy days in Buddhism of Vesak, and it's the celebration of the life of Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, and in May, they celebrate the birth of the Buddha, the enlightenment of the Buddha, and the passing of the Buddha. So Wesak or Vesak is about letting water, usually it's on the Scorpio full moon. The dates change according to culture, but as I learned it from England, from White Eagle, the full moon in Scorpio, which is this one, which is the death of the old self and the transformation and the birth of the new. So like the sign Scorpio, it's the phoenix. The eagle flies higher than any bird, but the phoenix is the mythological symbol to rise from the fires of anything that was a death or a destruction so that we are transformed. You know, and if you think for a minute, not to bring up anything too sad, but if you think for a minute, whenever there's been the death of something that you once cherished, that could be a marriage, it could be a relationship. It isn't always a physical death transition, but when something died that you invested a lot of hope and trust and, most importantly, your vulnerability into, and if you got betrayed, if there was abuse, if you got lied to, if you got kicked to the curb, these are very high antenna alert alarms that go on in our life, and it's how we process all of that without needing to be the junkie, the addict of controlling it all, how we bounce back, how we look at that as, instead of just holding on to the grudge or the anger or the seeking revenge, shadow sides of Scorpio. It forms a recipe within us to where we actually don't just do the words and the prayers and the rituals of religion, but and I'm not condemning any of that, but that we actually put boots on the ground as soldiers of fortune and work to do our part to shift our fortune in allegiance with the high holies. So when you call in the almighty armies of the divine, when you call in and say, you know what, I don't have it all figured out, I've messed it up before, kind of get afraid sometimes I'll mess it up again. So this is that perfect full moon. On Eastern time, it's at 11:32, 11:33 tonight. Do your own time zone calculations, but this is that full moon tonight, and I wait for it all year long. I love the Scorpio moon because it's coming out of the cocoon, it's pecking out of the egg of familiarity. It's our ability to actually enlist in the army of light and say, yes, I'm not half involved anymore. I choose the light. I choose the light. And two songs come to mind. Taurus is about the throat, the thyroid, the singing, and how sound and artistic vibrations of sound. There's a song by the group called Disturbed, The Sound of Silence, which is very, very scorpionic and powerful. His face when he sings it, the lyrics when he puts them out there. So if you go to YouTube and look up The Sound of Silence by Disturbed,
that's actually really weird you bring that up. The Sound of Silence has always been for me a song that should never have ever been touched. However, that being said, the version that you're on about, Disturbed, I actually tend to think that dude sings it better than it's ever been sung. It's so powerful.
The emotional alchemy of it is powerful. Now, to me, like you, it didn't take away from the original Sounds of Silence. To me, what Disturbed did was take all those decades of the original fruit of the song and add impact on, hey, people, it's time to bring this back. And this time, I'm going to show you how I really paid attention, and it can transform you. It can transform you. Do not let this historic song slip into the past. And another one from the past that I've not seen anybody do a better version of as yet is the one by Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac when she sings the song Rooms on Fire. Because in that, the lyrics basically say, there is magic all around you if I do say so myself. And, you know, and she kind of brings it in every time you walk into the room. So she's singing about how someone, Scorpio, intimacy, where we let our hair down, where we let our secrets known to another that we have fondness for in this earth walk. She's like honoring the fact that she had to understand her own magic, black magic, or white magic, or the magic of moving into divinity from where we can rise the highest. And she's found that she has found a companion energetic signature, whether it's a best friend or a child or a parent. There's magic all around you, if I do say so myself. So she's found that compatible conduit of energy. And it isn't always just who we're going to marry or cohabitate with. Sometimes we can have a death rebirth experience from a person in our life that showed up in a time of need, and that's that person that was there for a reason and a season, and even though their lives may take them in a different direction, you and I were forever benefited because of that deed, that kindness, that action, that wisdom, that consequence.
That's
Because
sorry to interrupt you, but this is really kind of like what I was talking about on Freaky Friday. I was talking about guardian angels, and I was asking the guys, do you think guardian angels have to be like spirits? They have to be ethereal? Because I tend to think that you get guardian spirits that are very physical and very human. And just like you said there, they're the people that appear at just the right time, and you might not even appreciate it at the time. Usually you don't. But then something will cause you to look back and think, wow, that person really, really changed my world. And that's what I tell people all the time, Mary. You can't change the whole world per se. We would all love to. But you can make a change to somebody's personal world, right?
absolutely. And again, if I show up authentic and they show up authentic, there's nothing but divine dance of energies that can take place. And neither one of us are going to drain each other. If I show up authentic and someone is wanting to have expectations of me, now I'm definitely enough of a Scorpio that I say, listen, when you enter my world, you better say what you mean and mean what you say, because I'll exit. That's just the consequence. If you come up and you're two-faced or you don't get me. So it's when we give consequences of like, I'm not going to keep asking myself, why did he do that? Why did she do that? Peace out. I'm out. So it's like you got 3 strikes. And so to me, you've given that person education, awareness. But if they keep thinking, oh, well, they love me enough that I'm a teenager, I can lie to mom or dad all the time, or I won't get caught, the sin of omission. I'll do it, but unless they ask me, I won't say anything. So we go through these dynamics as parents. We go through these dynamics which I think can fracture us or break our spirit more when people have had parents that do that to them when they're in very vulnerable formation, transformation stages. So I believe as we correct that in our whoever, to your point, absolutely. I believe that the sacred above world, the levels of heaven and the above world, they can enter any animal, any tree, any person that they want to send an earth angel to you as one of their emissaries or representatives to help you through that craggy rock or not fall off or that leap of faith. I've met them in physical therapy that I've been through. I've met them in of course, cherished friends. But I believe this is what the First Nations people over here call your medicine people, your medicine men and your medicine women. They show up and they're not always going to patronize you or agree with you. They're going to go bada boom, bada bing, and this is what it is. And sometimes they're very powerful in their silence of what they don't say and what they won't do to always agree with you. You're right, I wouldn't put up with that either. A medicine person would say, so you're not changing it, so you must be getting something out of it. Do you know what you're getting out of it to keep continuing this behavior?
Now, these changes that we're going through, Mary, you mentioned a moment ago, boots on the ground, you got to do your part. And I entirely agree with that. I always remember the story. Don't know where I heard it, but it's about a guy in a flood. And they come to get him when the floodwaters are just coming up. And he says, no, I'm okay. God, the creator, he's got this covered. I'll be fine. So that's okay. Waters keep rising. They come back in a boat. And they say, come on, mate, you need to get out of here. Your house is going to get swept away. You're going to get swept away. You're going to drown. He says, no, God's got me. I'm covered. And the next time he's up on his roof, the water's rising. The helicopter comes along. Guy comes down on the rope. He says, come on, man, last chance to get out of here. He says, no, away with you. God's got this covered. So the inevitable happens. He drowns. And when he gets up to heaven, he looks at God and he says, where were you? You always promised you'd be there for me, you'd save me. And God says, well, I sent you a guy to the door. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. You have to put the work in yourself. So what is the work that we have to put in, Mary, as we look at this fork in the road? I tell you, with the Taurus, there's some real serenity and there's a sweet spot coming in mid-May, but to that story, which is so profound, we have choice. And sometimes as stubborn little human creatures, we don't want to take responsibility for the very choice of either doing what we need to do or avoiding
what we need to do, because we're so afraid of losing that job or that person or that situation that we stay in something that's less than empowering, because we always have choice. Now, in that choice, sometimes maybe we will make a choice and do without for a while. You know, I've had clients that left wealth, like to speak about Visak or Siddhartha Buddha. He was born in a very wealthy palace, which is now Nepal and Tibet, and he was always kept inside the palace, born into extreme wealth. Well, one day he ventured outside the palace and he saw old age, and he saw poverty and beggars in the street, and he saw starving animals, and he saw injury. And so to the Buddha, it was like, wait, how can I be in all of? I can't be in all this, and the world is suffering out here. So he went on vision quest to understand about what would be the purpose of suffering, and how did I get born in all this wealth? And of course, the family in the palace and his wife didn't want him to leave, but he went out on vision quest for at least 6 to 7 years. And he went with the ascetics, and he lived on nothing in the woods and meditated and all that. And then he reached nirvana enlightenment and realized, I will never, ever have attachments. You know, so Buddhism's basis is let go of attachments, show up as that lightning bolt of illumination, and be kind and do good in this world, because you may not get it returned to you by the very person that you were kind to. That's called an attachment or a string attached. But the very fact that you did it blesses your soul, grants you better karma, and in your time of need, because of all those selfless, pay it forward, random acts of kindness, you're putting credit, Taurus again, you're putting credit in your karmic and your spiritual bank account. So you can't be attached, well, I was really good to that person, and they took advantage of my home, and they stole from me. That's their karma, not you. Now, you do have to set boundaries, and Taurus and Scorpio season is about, yeah, guess what? That's not going to keep going that way. And for a lot of people, it's hard for them when they see the shadow of themselves or another person. That's where denial comes in. You know, it's, I'm not an alcoholic, or I'm not addicted to those drugs, or I don't need to take sleeping pills, or I'm not a sex addict, or I'm not addicted to porn. And Scorpio and Taurus bring all that up of like, really? So what do you do on a daily basis when you get anxious? What do you do when you're blinking your eyes and you've lost your sleep? What do you do? Do you go in nature? Do you do something healthy? Or do you spend too much time online? Or do you expect someone else to show up and give you happiness that you can't even fathom and find yourself? Hey, how about, why don't you start at the top and do some type of prayer or affirmation or ceremony or meditation? And why don't you start with just, it's free, by the way, breathing in, and on the inhalation, which is medically and spiritually what you're calling into your body, the breath of life. So as you breathe in, you close your eyes and you breathe in, and you simply sound within your own mind, all is now well with my soul. And as you exhale, as you push out, so you're releasing, it's an exit, and you're pushing the breath out, I now release and let go of any and all deleterious or uninvited energies. And then when you breathe in, all is now well with my soul. This harkens back to those that have eyes that will see, and those that have ears that will hear.
Wow, Mary DeAsina, ladies and gents. We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The conversation just keeps on going during the break, and Mary DeAsina is our special guest on KBS today. And before I forget, coming up after today's show, we have got Lucky with Quantum Connections. So stay tuned for that. But we've still got 3 segments to go with Mary. And after this segment finishes, we're going to be opening up the phone lines. So if you would like to put your question to Mary, all you need to do is call the following number. It's 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And I'll give that number out again when we get to the end of this segment, because I'm going to get back into it with Mary DeAsina. Check out the website, marydeasina.com. And Mary, you mentioned the sweet spot. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, so in the first half of May of 2021, we're going to come into May over this weekend. And so the first day of May, we're still shifting. We're beginning to shift energies from the very sedate, look at what makes us feel worthy, time to take those soft moments, some pleasure moments of like culinary arts and just sensuality with nature, which is different than sexuality. Sensuality is like a full encompassing type of experience for the senses. And so when we get to like May 12th, the new moon on May 11th, May 12th, May 13th, May 14th, we're going to have the planet in Greek mythology, Zeus or Jupiter, is going to shift into the very mystical, dreamy, spiritual, empowering sign of Pisces. Now, in the Western zodiac, Pisces is the fishes. It's the 12th sign of the 12 Western signs. Aries is the first. Pisces is the 12th. So Jupiter is the great benefactor. It expands our good fortune. So when it goes into the spiritual, heavenly frequencies, and by the way, do the calculations, it's not been there for 12 years, and it's going to go there in mid-May. So what happens is in mid-May is normally the things that we tend to struggle with that are our scary clowns or our weaknesses, Jupiter is now going to say, hey, May through July of this year, and then it'll go in for a year when it goes back in, but just for the next 3 months, from the middle of May into July, when we come into the other bouncing eclipses, Jupiter's going to say, I got you. I got you. I'm going to send you some earth angels. This is a great time for you to get therapy. You might want to go to an AA meeting. You might want to unplug being on the internet so much. Maybe your computer gaming is causing you to miss out on some really rich opportunities of meeting and greeting some valuable human beings, creatures like you that aren't just electronic. Maybe you need to get out there and walk. Maybe you need to adopt a dog or a cat, because the 12th house involves any institution of rehab or correction. So nurses, doctors, hospitals, physical therapy, nutrition, holistic, yoga, everything that can help you be healthier, especially in your mental, psychological, and spiritual acumen, is coming up to be so strong, so good, so fortunate, and so lucky for every sign, but especially Pisces and Cancer, every sign. This is such a regenerative restoration cycle for any of us, by the way, but especially so for those that are strong in Moonchild, Cancer sign, or Pisces. This is Neptune. This is the fishes. This is about, instead of going at cross currents with each other, like the fish heading the opposite way so they never really go anywhere, this is Jupiter going, no. The currents and the tides, there's not going to be tsunamis, and there's not going to be underwater volcanoes. This is an excellent time if, the caveat, if you choose to do release work on what's been your fractures and your brokenness and your spirit, as the First Nations people taught me, and I know that Naysay talks about it, and your Australian medicine people talk about it. Any kind of difficulty that we have started with our soul, started with our spirit. It's when we separated from the divine. So when we heal our fractured selves, our brokenness, our divided selves, first in the spirit part of ourselves, then the mind will follow suit, and then the body will heal. You got it. It's not body, mind, spirit. You have to start with the soul star. You have to start with, what is my spirit telling me it wants? Where is my spirit haunting, pestering, or calling to me? Please turn around and face this. Please look at this again. Please come back to the table and work on this again.
Mary,
so
what kind of basic techniques could you give somebody like me? And I know a lot of the audience, I've seen them agreeing when they hear me talking about this, but I can't quieten my mind. So see, when I need to get in contact, when I need to have that quiet time, that quiet space, and as you put it, get in touch with your higher self, whatever language you want to use there, what kind of simple techniques could you give somebody, if any?
I'll do it for you right now. Tell me the first memory that pops out of your subconscious. Don't analyze it. The first, since you've got monkey mind going on most of the time, what's the first thing right now that pops up when I tell you, give me a story, give me a vignette or a picture of you when you were happy as a child? Where are you at? What's the location? What's it look like when you were like, I love it here?
Probably
Just makes me happy.
school sports day came to mind there. That's a weird one, right? That's a weird one. But I've only been honest.
Define it for me. Just give me 60 seconds on what was wonderful that you remember. You're a time traveler now, and you're going right back there as young as you can remember right now. And for your audience, and even on the replay.
I had my mum there watching, winning a race, feeling really good, with my friend as well. Just having a fun.
Companion.
Just generally having fun, and nice because my mum had made it. Yeah.
Okay, so you had your primary medicine woman with you. She was the chalice of life. So you had your mother there to be there at the race. You had a really compatible friend, with you. So you had, for you, part of the peace of your mind is, I have two people here that support me and that I trust, I can let my hair down with. It seems to give me fuel to work harder at doing better. So companions for you, and not having to worry or work at someone being too critical or too judgmental, someone that just says, hey, Kev, I like hanging with you because you're Kev. I mean, I'm so glad you're in my life. That's an elixir for you. That's a medicine tonic. So what you do with your children or your mate, what you always want to do, your friends, what you always want to do is you want to be that encouragement cheerleader. You like giving encouraging words. Now, you might do that through humor. You try to lift the room. Your medicine is you want to try to uplift somebody and say, it's not going to be that bad for long. I got this. Anything I can do. You're like that. You show up with that kind of medicine.
Yeah, that's pretty much me. I was always the joker. Even in the darkest of times in the army, you could guarantee that I would find something we could laugh about. When I'm doing the show as well, I love to encourage other people that are doing their own shows.
There you go.
What does it they say? You can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, you get how it goes. That's the way I see doing this. I love the thought of other people.
It harkens back. That's perfect for this celestial cycle, because astrology is not a belief, it's a tool. It's just a tool. So in the Taurus toolbox, Taurus is saying, how can we best validate our worth and validate someone special in our life, how they bring worth and richness and bounty and abundance into our life. When we have a compatible friend or a child in that soft spot with that mate or whatever, that's abundance. That's cornucopia.
I'll tell you what makes me feel good then. I'll tell you right now what makes me feel good. Nano Girl. When I randomly came across her on another show, just a weekend or so ago, I didn't know she was going to be on it, with a guy who's really close to us here on the channel, Algo. And that had me smiling from ear to ear. But I remember taking Nano on for her very first show, and I don't know, I get a kick out of seeing people, doing their own thing. And listen, I've got no ambition to be the biggest show in the world, even if I wanted to be. But I tell you what, I'd get a kick out of seeing somebody taking it further than I have. I don't know. That's what kind of encourages me.
But you're not a person of envy. You're not a person. You actually feel good when you see Nano Girl or your Australian story getting out for it. You actually feel good that you can be an integral part in the spoke of the wheel that moves it forward, because here's what's in the back of your mind, Captain Kev. In the back of your mind is, this information is a pearl of wisdom. This information needs to get out there. This could help a lot of people, and I want to help be a platform to launch that rocket of illumination.
Yep, I just want to get people thinking. Nothing huge, no huge ambition, Mary. Just get people thinking for themselves,
Absolutely. But what does that build? We're going back to the same medicine. You're helping people find another tool for self-worth. You're like saying to them, you got this. You can do this. I promise. Look, I'll ask a question, or I'll suggest this, or I'll prompt you on. I'll be the coach. I'll be your communication coach. So you may find that with your particular star sign, the sign before yours is all about communications. The sign that happens before your birth sign is ruled by Mercury, and it has a lot to do with the power of wordsmithing, how you write it, how you say it. Those are arrows. Those are arrows of energy that go out there. And we've all felt the sting of criticism or disappointment, or when we lied and got caught, and our parent is like, really, what made you think that was going to be okay with me?
Mercury, Mercury used to be
Yeah.
my cat badge when we were in the army, because we were in the
Well,
Royal
there you
Signals.
go.
Yeah,
No, psych.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Mercury with
so
a finger up.
Mercury, or
We used to joke that
yeah, Mercury,
he was giving the finger
yeah,
to the
or
Royal Engineers because they were, oh, we
oh, I
don't like
love
the
it. I
engineers.
love
Yeah.
it. Okay, and what's Mercury? Mercury is the winged messenger in Greek mythology, and Zeus, aka Jupiter, Zeus was always sending Mercury out on assignments. Look, go get this message over to the Lord of War, Mars, and listen. Don't stay too long with beautiful Venus bathing out there in the ocean. Talk to her, then go. But Mercury was about getting the story out, getting the message further, and that's you.
Yep, that's the Royal Signals by land, by sea, by air. Certecito, swift and sure. Get your communications across. But listen, if we talk about me any longer, I'm going to start to feel like a narcissist. So listen, let me give the
No.
phone number out for people out there so that you can experience, you can put your question to Mary. Maybe you've got a new job and maybe you're thinking of big changes, or maybe you just want to hear Mary give you a read and pull a card for you. Either way, all you got to do is dial 213 233 3998, and that's 213 233 3998. So with that said, Mary, we'll probably open up the phones at the end of this segment. Where else do you want to, or what else do you want to talk about just now?
I like to look at, just like you did that, 2 by air and 1 by sea, or I may have that backwards. I may have been dyslexic on that. But when it comes to the messages, the teachings, and the lessons, that each of the 12 signs has a flavor. It's a spice in and of itself. So with Taurus, our flavor is around the themes of how can I work on myself. It starts with you. How can I work on myself and feel more secure and invested in my beliefs, and my spirituality starts with spirit? How have I maybe stepped too far away from that? When's the last time I went to a drumming circle? When's the last time I walked with God in nature? When's the last time I actually, like it at WESAC, when they come up to the actual ritual this year, it changes. It's usually in the month of May. I learned it differently, that it's always the full moon of Scorpio. But this year, worldwide, WESAC will actually happen the night of the moon that you and I are, again, at the lunar eclipse. But it has a lot to do, it's always the month in the energy of May with Buddha. But they believe in, even part of the ritual is bathing the Buddha. And they put water over one of the statues of Gautama Buddha, because it's about we come from liquid into this earth life. We come from an earth birth vessel, okay? Even if they put your mixture in a petri dish, there's still some fluid involved. But if you had an actual human creature birth, then you came from fluid, and once that umbilical cord was cut, you took on air. So there's water, there's air, so there's fluid, there's air, there's land and sky and fire. We have an electrical system. That's why if we get low in electrolytes, the doctors get concerned. So we have fire in our cellular structure. So this is Earth. So you might ask yourself, do I feel grounded? What do I feel is secure in my foundation? And folks, ladies and gentlemen, it's not always about money in the bank or money hidden in the mattress. That's just an earth-based type of thing. There are so many valuable things that you can't put a price on that go on in your life. There's priceless moments, and there's rich events that happen in our life that you wouldn't give up any amount of money for. So this is about, how can I ground myself better? When's the last time I really paid attention to my earth mother nature? What do I like to do in nature? Some like to garden, some like to walk, some like to go outside and play with their children, and, play volleyball on the beach or listen to the soft rain. So this is about detaching. Psychologically, it's a time to detach from being dominating and resistant to change, and it's a time for us to detach from dominating people that are always trying to tell us when to do it, how to do it. So to wrap it up with your talking about, I can't seem to quiet my mind. First, don't be so hard on yourself. Say to yourself, I'm going to go outside, and I'm just going to take 5 full, rich minutes, and I'm going to watch the sun, or I'm going to watch the moon, or I'm going to go find a star, or I'm going to listen to the rain in a way like I don't normally do, because as you told me, it's usually pretty moist and rainy in Scotland. So I'm going to listen to the rain. It's a sound frequency, and I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm just going to let myself focus on the sound of that rain. And even if you doze off, Kev, even if you slip into a meditative or take a little quick cat nap, it's okay, because at least you're quieting the mind and going into the inner universe.
Whoa,
and
whoa,
that's
whoa,
what
whoa,
full moons
scary
are.
Mary, scary Mary. Yeah, hang on now. You've gone scary on me, right? I'm sitting here trying not to laugh because I think it was a couple of weeks ago now. Anne had come in. I'd fallen asleep on the couch, and listen, I'm somebody that can't sleep without something on in the background. Usually it's Star Trek. Don't ask. But
Right.
this time, I had opted for the sounds, the ambient sounds of heavy rain hitting off a window on YouTube. It was like a 10-hour long video of like a thunder and lightning and rainstorm.
I love those.
I
love
dropped
those.
off in like seconds. It felt like, wow, 1 second I was here, the next minute I was gone. That's why I'm laughing when you're saying, thinking of the kind of rain hitting the window. But
And think
scary,
about
Mary.
the element that you are. Good, scary, Betty.
Yeah.
Think about the element that you are. You are of the ocean. You are of the waters. So the Earth Mother's waters, her water sounds, a waterfall, some of the, like Tibetan bowls, the rain, the soft rain, so there's not the interference of the thunder beings or the lightning bolts, which I call enlightenment bolts. So that steady white noise in the background. But this time it wasn't just music, it was Earth Mother noises. So what she was doing was like, look, this is steady, this is regulated, there's nothing scary here, let me rock you to sleep. And you went in with the womb waters of the mother, her baptism.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, I think I've shared this with you before. Anytime I'm unwell, I've shared it with the audience, I think, anyway, but that's my default position. Headache, sore stomach, anything, bath on, lie in the warm water.
Yeah.
I am so at home there. And Anne, she would totally agree. She thinks it's weird. It's like, literally, like you're saying, it's like almost like, I don't know, like that
You're
womb
like a
thing.
goldfish. You're like a goldfish, or a porpoise.
I've got a
you
memory
feel
like a goldfish, people have said, Mary.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but it's like the waters are taking you back to that when we felt the most secure as growing embryonic eggs we were in fluid. We were in embryonic fluid. We were getting nutrients from the amniotic, pulse through what we call the umbilical cord. We were getting our stem cells. Things were growing and cells were dividing because of the movement of fluid.
Wow.
So for you, water, soaking your feet, Pisces rules the feet, Epsom salts, magnesium, and you might during the day when the water ceremonial relaxation might not be possible, I would invest in some magnesium capsules because, yes, we can soak our feet in magnesium, but magnesium is a mineral and it's a natural muscle relaxer. And I'll tell you, as far as monkey mind, I've not found anything better that's better bang for the buck, that's inexpensive for everybody's budget. The B vitamins relax anxiety in our nerves. So I go over to the little drugstore and you can get a 2-pack over here for like under $12 of sublingual liquid B12. And you just shake it up and you put it under your tongue. Don't be drinking coffee or wine or having a pizza snack. No, you got to do it in between meals because when you're doing sublingual, you take a vial of that and you put it under your tongue, doesn't taste bad at all, and you hold it to the count of 20 or 25, and then you swallow it because it's bypassing the stomach and going right into that soft tissue in your mouth and going into your bloodstream. And liquid B12 soothes anxiety.
No,
so if you're going through
no coffee. No coffee.
No, I'm a coffee girl. Oh, no, I'm a coffee girl. So first thing when I get up, and I love that, okay, here we go, soft moment, rich pleasure of grinding my organic coffee beans. Oh, no, when I get up, it's coffee. But before I go for an afternoon nap or if I have it in the car when it's not the heat of summer here, I've got that B12 with me. So if you start to get stressed in traffic or you're running late, you pick up your little bottle of your 2-pack of liquid B12, shake it up, do 2 or 3 vials. Now, you can't OD on B12, because it's a water soluble. So if you all of a sudden see that your urine is like nuclear yellow or orange, that just means you've absorbed as much as you're going to absorb right now, so you're just going to piddle it out. So you when that urine color changes, take a pause. But what I mean by not eating or drinking is when you're doing your B12, let that be in between. Like, I finished my coffee, and now I'm going to wait 30 minutes, and I'm going to do my B12. And I promise you, whenever you want to sleep, if you'll take 2 or 3 vials of that B12 under your tongue, boom, 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 right in a row. Count to 20, take another one. Count to 20, take another one. And on an empty stomach, or a couple hours after you've eaten, or at least an hour. And you watch how easy you drop off. Watch how easy you can fall asleep to the movie or the rain, or just lay down and go, wow.
I'm finding it harder and harder to get that dropping off, to quiet, and even to get to sleep. It's like the brain is constantly running. It's crazy.
Well, look at the internet and the Wi-Fi and the all the stuff that's going on in techno world. I mean, that's why we need more B12 right now. We need that. Where D3 will boost your immunity, and that's a fat-soluble vitamin. I didn't say D. Pay attention, take notes. I said D3. So D3, you want to take that with food because that's a fat-soluble supplement, and so it stays in your body better with food, and you can take less because you're taking it with your coffee or your meal. But B12 and like probiotics, these begin to calm down the anxious stomach or the nauseated stomach or the growling stomach or the bloated stomach. So probiotics, which is the opposite of antibiotics. So probiotics, non-dairy probiotics, soothe whatever ails the digestive or the elimination system. And all of them are relatively inexpensive. You just got to spend 25 years in the holistic herbal business to figure out how to tell people to do it less expensive.
Yeah, I've come to realize, even as a young kid, more so as a young child, I used to think it's a very naive kind of thought, but it's true that this Mother Earth, it provides everything we need. Everything
Absolutely.
we need is here, and our bodies are finely tuned to this world, this reality, right here, this environment.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick before we go to calls. I'm going to ask you a question. You might want to ask your mom, right before you found out that you were pregnant with me, or maybe even during the pregnancy, did you used to, when you got stressed, did you used to always be like your stomach? Did you find that you either had butterflies in your stomach when you got nervous, or you had like irritable stomach, or it would get gassy or bloated whenever you got anxious or stressful? Or did you have a hard time with what you were eating and being able to keep down when you were pregnant with me? Because there's something about the stomach that relates back to your earth vessel.
Oh, I know that she had a terrible time with me for the 9 months, so I think there was a lot of sickness. Yeah.
You might find out the specific foods that stressed her or that she absolutely adored, the foods that she could actually say, oh, my God, I can keep that down and I'm not nauseated. Oh, that's so wonderful. Those may end up being healing foods for you.
Wow, lots to think about, Mary. Now, Mary, tell people where
Scary Mary.
They can Scary Mary, absolutely. Tell people where they can find out more about what you do and how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, on Facebook, my public page is called Cosmic Conditions with a C, Cosmic Conditions, and I do a lot of metaphysical, holistic, herbal, celestial stuff there, and and a lot of visual memes to help you for the day, kind of like an energy uplift for the day. And then the website, it's just my name.com, Mary DUSINA.com, and I do post there, and you can roam around and look at different things there. And it's just, I try to, on LinkedIn, and I don't do as much on Instagram. I like the fact that although I'm not, believe me, necessarily a fan of Facebook, whatever it is, I like the original concept of what Facebook or MeWe or Parler set out to be as far as us being able to benefit from the World Wide Web. And although I'm not in Scotland sitting with Kevin and his dear ones having some coffee that I would happily grind up for he and his family and serve or cook a meal and share that kind of camaraderie, I will have to say that the part of the internet and the Wi-Fi and the social media that I think we need to get back to, I think we all need to take a discipline of self-worth and only I'm not saying be in denial about the world, but we know what's going on. You can tune into that if you want to. But let's instead, because it's just force-fed all the time, it's toxic. So let's all try to join for maybe 1 month until we come back together again. Let's do a homework assignment, a soul work assignment, and let's all do a deeper dive to put positive, healing, holistic, encouraging words on our Facebook and our Instagram and Snapchat or whatever, or LinkedIn, whatever you do. Let's do something to be an army of encouragers and help everybody rise up.
I like it. It's a different take. Forget MAGA. Think making timelines great again. We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere, folks. I'm liking this, Mary. I like it. Oh, yeah, we need to get back to a simpler social media experience. We'll be right back.
And powerful pleasures.
So it's hour number 2 on today's Kev Baker Show, and that means we are ready to hear from all of you. If you want to call in to speak to our resident astrologer, our divine feminine who talks about the metaphysical, the beyond, we've been into animal whispering as well on one of our early shows. Mary is here to talk to you, and she wants to talk to you, and I'd love for you to phone in on the following number. So get this, write it down, and we'll be awaiting your call right here on tfrlive.com. The number you need is 213. That's 233 3998. That's 213 233 3998. And one more time, it's 213 233 3998. And hopefully, the phones will be ringing off the hook. Now, we've got some static on your line there. It's gone away now. Ooh, I was getting worried there, Mary. I thought we had gremlins on the line.
Well, you are calling from Scotland.
Well, it is true. It's very true. Now, before I forget, our good friend Jules, who called in the last time, our own little treasure out of the KBS audience, she has said to say hello to you. I think she's just home from work, and she's sending much love and positive vibes your way, Mary.
Oh, how nice. How nice. Well, I want to say to Jules that right when you said her name, I saw a 4-leaf clover. So we know that the St. Patrick's Day celebrations is in mid-March. So that, again, is the sign of Pisces in Western Zodiac. So it could be that right around, since March is an MA and May is an MA month, it could be around the middle of May that the luck of the Irish, so to speak, because that is a symbol all around the world. When you know anything about that culture, the 4-leaf clover in that culture is considered to be a lucky charm. So there's something charming or interesting happening by that 14th, 15th, 17th of May.
Awesome. Now we've also got a message from our Uncle Donnie from Down Under. He's one of our Aboriginal friends, and he's my brother. He's somebody who I believe, he's the guy I told you that I had a really strange, a familiarity with. I don't know how much of the shows you've been catching, but Donnie remembers a couple of times that we've maybe been on this plane before together, and one time not so nice.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that.
See, that, I mean, listen, I like I said to Donnie at the time, I'd be lying if I said yes, I can remember that, but I would also be lying if I said that, like, from the very instant I met Donnie, there was a weirdness, a real weirdness, Mary. It was quite uncomfortable, to be honest with you, and I couldn't put my finger on it.
Can I tell you what I'm seeing?
No.
I see the sun going down on water, and I see a knot in a rope, like how you tie a ship off, like when, it doesn't always have to be a big ship, but the boats are the ships that you can actually, what do you call that, anchoring it to the dock or whatever, and I see that the rope broke, and I feel like that you had planned to go out and always have fun, but somehow there was a drowning or a disappearance at sea or something, so you might have Donnie and you kind of take that little vignette of a past walkabout and see what you get from that in this lifetime. you're like a light to each other. There's a reconnection and the soul recognition, and I feel like that there's no knots or things don't get knotted up, and it's not an KNOT or an NOT. So it's now that you've connected again. It's like the line of support, like the ship, the relationship, and the congruency between you. It's like, wow, I discovered my brother again. I'm so glad you're here. It's almost like, wow, I don't know how we lost touch. It feels like there was a space in there, but it feels like, and I hate to even say the words, but almost like maybe in another walkabout or in another dimension or the matrix, you got separated by the sea, or that there was a drowning, or like, and that could have been psychological in that lifetime, that the two of you were like really strong brothers and had an allegiance and really strong friends. And like the friends some of us have had this lifetime, that once they meet that guy or that girl, you as a true and trusted friend is like, oh gosh, that relationship's bringing them down. They're not smiling anymore. They're not happy. They're drowning in misery.
Yep.
So
Scary,
I feel like
Mary.
that
No,
now
no,
that
no, listen, hey. Well, Donnie's just dropped in the Discord. But I was lost at sea. There's a whole story behind this. Now, like I say, I can't remember this. So I'm not going to be somebody that starts, sitting here pretending, I can remember all this.
Right.
But I do
That's
know,
right.
like I said to you to begin with, I do know that there's this familiarity that I'm not used to. I've come across people before that I felt I've known, and it's been a very kind of, well, in no way negative, and it's no way like there's something bad between me and Donnie, although we found out what that was all about, but it was something really, really weird. It's very, very uncomfortable.
Souls recognize each other. Souls recognize each other. We may have personality facades and masks on, even before this pandemic, but souls, like, I know you. I don't know how I know you. I don't know all the details, but I know that I know you, and I know that I want to continue to know you.
Now, we've got a caller on the line. So in fact, we've got two callers on the line. Here we go. They're queuing up for Mary already. Listen, before I go to our first caller, the number you need is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. So we're going to area code 858 first of all today. Welcome to the show, and I'm going to now pass you over to my good friend Mary. So Mary, we've got our first caller here.
Hey,
Hello,
Mary,
caller. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your attention on this very special, powerful full moon of transformation. It really is a time that each of us are emerging. It's not an emergency, hopefully, for a lot of people. Full moons do create big fanfare, dramatic moments, but if we can trust the spiritual, sacred process of I am ready to emerge and rise above whatever it is, whatever it is that you feel like has been a drag line, pulling you down, holding you back. This is that full moon to say, I let go. I let go. I trust the divine. I let go. So I feel around you that there's a part of you that really gets that really understands that. Like you've mastered, you may not do it all the time, but I feel like you absolutely know that part of you and how it feels when that's coming up to you from your soul to say, got to let this go.
Yeah, I know. There's this stray cat that I've been visiting with. He just keeps on... it's like not letting me go, I'm not sure.
So there's a stray cat that in your dreams, or there's actually or meditations?
Oh, it's actually a real one.
Good. Okay.
Physical.
I was always taught that when that animal in need shows up, at the very least, it's chosen you to help it. So whether we do safekeeping or we feed it for a while, or we maybe put a cardboard box out there and give it a little welcoming, I had one show up this year, and she loves cardboard boxes, so I put a cardboard box out, and I feed her in the morning, and I don't know how long she'll stay with me. I don't know how long she'll choose to be with me, but she showed up out of nowhere, and none of the neighbors recognize her, and she's been somebody's cat because she's already had the surgery to not have kittens. So like you, I just decided, okay, Spirit has deemed that I'm to be a caretaker of it. And like this moon, I won't be attached to how long she stays with me. She journeyed along and chose me for a time to be able to help her. So I would feed it, and I would try to win its trust. You know, when you have a wild animal or a stray animal and it shows up and it first runs away, you can feed it and you have to go in the house and then it'll eat. It's like it's scared because maybe it doesn't trust humans or someone was mean to it and chased it off. There's something to be said for that magic moment, that telepathic, spiritual, intuitive moment when the animal finally takes its nose and trusts you and lets you actually let it smell your hand, and you know, you don't have to pet it at first, just let it come towards you like, I won't hurt you. I won't hurt you. And that teaches us about our aura and our intuitive antenna and the kind of frequencies that we're sending out. And like Kevin was talking about, it's another way that we can stop the monkey mind or the mind chatter and the anxiety and really just get tunnel visioned and focused on, I'm going to we speak different languages, this stray cat and I. So I'm going to have to use my energy vibrations, and I'm going to let this cat know. I'm going to send with my emotional barometer and my intuitive spirit self, because you have a spirit self, I'm going to send this cat, it's okay, I'll help you.
All right.
And that act of kindness, you know, we think we're helping the stray dog. We think we're helping, you know, get the cat back in the fence that got out or help the animal that was used for dog fighting or whatever. But actually, when you look back on it, they came in a time in our life when they blessed us. They gave us trust. They gave us unconditional love. Creatures like the bird that falls out of the nest. I saved a bat one time and a baby owl, and there's all been kinds of stuff that's come around me because I know that my earth mama, when she entrusts me with her creatures, I know that my earth mother, which I am a creature on at this time, this beautiful blue-green jewel that needs my attention to her sometimes, when my mother, my earth mother, asks me to help one of her creatures, I'm on the job in a split second. But you have the card that I picked for you, you have the scales of justice here on a card that's called the Six of Diamonds or the Six of Talents or the Six of Golden Coins. And I feel like something's balancing or leveling out in your life. And I want to go back easily 6 to 7 months. So we're in late April, so I'm going back to October. So from where you were at and your desires or your concerns or your frustrations back in like the third, fourth week of October of 2020, I feel like that as spring is bursting and emerging by the great turning of the wheel, I feel like that you've overcome something that was very deep and private inside of you, maybe how you rearrange your strategies psychologically and emotionally and mentally. And I want to say that as you go into this fifth month of 2021, I feel like that your foundation is stronger, your ability to even do better with things financial or things of a material world or seeing some abundance. I mean, to me, another type of abundance is when my herbs start growing. You know, it's just like, yes, my $3 plant is now going to produce tomatoes for the whole rest of the year. So I get excited when a seed becomes a plant and then it starts to bear flower or fruit. I know that that is abundance coming from supernatural forces.
I like it.
Like this stray cat.
So caller, how was that? Does that make sense to you? Did that resonate with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So think about it, take it in, digest it intuitively, and then apply it. Taurus is about applying it. This is the time of the garden of life and the seeds of change. So I want you to think about, if I were planting seeds in my life garden to manifest and have magic come forth and flower and blossom and actually feed me in some way, what are the categories of life that I would now plant? And you can do that in prayer and meditation. You don't have to actually go put your hands in the dirt. I do both, but you can actually do that and pick one thing and be quiet about it. Don't tell anybody and watch it bear fruit, because then it's between you and God. Then it's between you and the divine source. If you keep it quiet to yourself and you go, wow, it happened. I didn't tell anybody, and it happened. And when it does, call Kev back and tell him about it.
That's where the magic happens. Absolutely. Now listen, thank you so much for calling in today, but our phone lines are now starting to really back up. So
So we're going to have to move.
Yeah, thank you for calling. And now we're going to go to, let's see if I can get this right. Saskatchewan in Canada. I think I got that right, you know. I think I did. Area code 306. You're on with Mary DeAsina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have one question. Can I ask it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. May I ask if you can give me any clues about any possible past lives I may have had?
Well, it's interesting. I immediately saw a donkey, and I saw the donkey had like they'll put what do they call, like on an alpaca or a donkey. They actually have like one side of it's got like, there's a name for these things, like it's carrying some grain, and the other side of it maybe carries the water pouch. But I'm actually seeing that this mule or this donkey is in this area. I often see landscape pictures, so you'd have to start to narrow it down to where was the donkey the main, or the mule the main animal of assisting someone when they were actually going to be on foot traveling somewhere. Like we know the Middle East has the camels, and we know that Peru would have the alpacas and the llamas. So,
I mean, you've got the yak in the Himalayas, right? I mean, I think that's what they use
yeah,
there, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's not quite the
and
donkey,
oxen
though.
in India.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that part of what I'm seeing with this is that this was a lifetime where you were very much appreciated by your neighbors and your community. I feel like that in this, it almost feels like it could be South America or Brazil or Mexico. I'm not sure of the country, and I don't make things up. So it feels warm to me as I'm looking at this, and I see like the blanket. I'm looking at a guy in the back, and it looks like I've got a woven blanket of some kind, like, I don't know what the name of that is, over the guy.
South America, isn't it? Sound in there.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm a mountain girl. But I feel like that the theme of that lifetime was that you were a neighbor that was there when people needed something. You showed up, you did what needed to be done, and everybody talked about how you affected their life by always being the man you were a male, as I'm saying this, and that you were the man in that walkabout, in that matrix, that was there to what we might call nowadays as the handyman or the good neighbor, or someone that was always there that would support a person in need. And you could have been a minister in that lifetime. You could have been a shaman. You could have been a doctor, but you were on call. It's like you showed up and you traveled great distance to do it.
Thank you.
Now, can I ask, I mean, do you yourself, do you have an inclination of a past life? Was there some reason that you were kind of specific on that? And if you don't want to answer that, that's okay.
Well, for the past several months, I've been thinking about past lives, and I've just wanted to know if there's any clues from anywhere about, like, I do not really have any inclination of what a past life may have been, but all the stuff that she said does fit into my current character.
Wow.
For me, when I started studying and working with that, like, where was I did it like this. Where was my soul's lessons, teachings, and developments in divine design before? What was I good at? What were my travails? Where did I fail? Where did I get beguiled and bewitched? How did I come back to the light? Because to me, our spirit is always and forever empowered. And so if I can learn from my divine design, I mean, to me, I don't care what religion you are or what you believe, Earth, for me, just for me, in my humble opinion, is a big-ass school. I mean, it's like lessons and teachings and, graduations and, okay, you failed at that, go back and repeat that grade. So to me, if the whole past walkabout that I've had in medicine circles, they say, if you're going to study it, bring forth the gifts of your ancestors. Bring forth the skill sets that you got from that walkabout with those people. And I think that's another part of soul recognition, that rabbi or that priest or that person you fall in love with, that child, there's a soul recognition to where this isn't our first time together. Our souls have known each other before. So I look at it like that, and I'll tell you, on YouTube, I used to go, like as Kev knows, I used to go to the seminars or buy the CDs, but if you can work with like Dr. Brian Weiss and actually lay on your own couch in the safety of your own home and do one of his, $300 an hour past life regression sessions, and you're in, again, you're home, you didn't have to travel anywhere, and you can work out what it is that maybe is the next curtain that pulls back to show you some inclinations. And to your point, and I'll finish with this, past life themes or visions need to also relate to this time, because if you lived it, if your soul was a part of it, then there will be like, yes, that does resonate. That feels familiar. I can relate to that. That's your clue right there that you're onto something.
And you know what, brother? I don't know why, but there's a lot of people like you right now. I mean, if you've listened to the show, I've been kind of away from the show asking myself about past lives as well. So don't think you're alone. Don't think it's weird to think it's weird to be thinking this way. I think there's more and more people are starting to ask the exact same question that you're asking. So good for you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling
in. So much.
Now then, we're going to go to our next caller real quickly here before we get to the break. It's area code 801. Welcome to KBS, and I'm going to put you on now with Mary.
Hello?
Hello. Happy full moon.
Oh, is this, hi, Mary? Is it, hi, Kev? I didn't hear the area code. This is Dalla from Utah.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Okay. Thank you. I called in a couple of months ago, and I see, Mary, I see your posts on Facebook, and I appreciate your time, and I'm hoping, well, it's going to happen this month. It's my month. May is my month. And I would just like if you would pull a card for me.
Absolutely.
Please.
Okay. Ooh,
thank you.
2 fell out. I'm working with 2 different decks. One is a traditional Rider-Waite tarot, and the other one is what I call my little circular. They're called the tea leaf cards. They're so cute, but they just do like one boom, one symbol. And what you got is a throne, and underneath it's an empty chair, like a queen or a king's chair, and it's empty. There's nobody in it, but it's this glistening throne, and it says you're moving into a position of authority. So, it's like when we think about The Simpsons, when that guy would run around and go, respect my authority, but this is about, when you think about angelic realms, you think about there's principalities, thrones, and dominions. So dominion or thrones has a lot to do about when we advance our soul and we learn about herbs, there's no going back. When you learn that something brought you darkness versus light, then you now have a now that I know better kind of a thing. Now that I'm awake, now that I'm enlightened, now that the empowerment has happened, there's a responsibility with it. It goes back to be careful of what you wish for. You may get it. On your other card, and the regular tarot deck is Pisces. It's the High Priestess. It's the second card. And when I teach tarot, they call them trumps in the tarot, in traditional tarot. But I went back all the way in history, and they kind of bastardized that word. It's actually supposed to be the minor and the major triumphs of life, okay? But the word, when they were interpreting it from Italian and Phoenician and all this, it got into a short form of trumps, how people, changed their names. So the High Priestess is from the major triumphs of life as far as the vision quest of the soul, the hero's journey, and this is full yin. Now, here's what's interesting, real quick, because we've got to go to break. All these Taurus planets, that's Mother Earth. And the fact that Mars is moved into Cancer and we've got the full moon in Scorpio, this is all yin, feminine, goddess type of energy. So with yin, and this is the part you're going to take away and think about, with yin energy, we become magnetic. We are drawing down the power of the moon. When it's yang, we're electrical, we're pulsating, and we're reaching out. So right now, what Spirit wants you to know is that you're drawing things to you. Again, I'll say, be careful of what you're you're the magnet. Be careful of what you're drawing to you or wishing for. You just might get it. Make sure it's what you want.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. And it really does coincide with things. Things you say coincide so perfectly, because I've had enough. I'm to a place in life where I'm well. I've become well. and I've had enough, and I'm drawing new boundaries. And it's almost like I'm coming out of this cocoon, and I'm taking control back. I'm not, you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yes. I want you to say this to yourself. I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to say, and go play Stevie Nicks' song later on, Rooms on Fire, because I want you to say to yourself, you are magic. You are one with the divine. All is now well with my soul. So write that down, breathe that when you're riding in the car, when you're walking outside, take it on a notepad or a little note card, index card, and just say, I am magic. I am one with magic. There is magic all around me. All is now well with my soul. When you affirm, when you pray, you want to say, Holy Spirit, now. Holy Spirit, imbue me now. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, whatever it is. Thank you. I invite you into me and my world now.
Yes,
do that.
Because I need them now. I will. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Kev. I love the show, and I'll be in touch with you, Mary.
Thank you, honey. Bless you.
Thank you so much for calling in. You know, Mary.
Thank you.
You make me smile because I love the way that you make people feel. You are somebody positive, and that caller there, for example, you just listen to the voice there, how much she appreciates what you're doing. I want you to know that we all appreciate what you're doing, and maybe you don't get thanked enough for the time that you take out.
Thank you, Kev.
To help others.
Yeah, I tell you, I was looking around the internet because it's been a long time since I was looking at other astrologers and other psychics or intuitives prices, and I'm like, wow, I'm really reasonable.
You're scary, Mary. You're something different.
I know.
And I am very, very lucky to have you here. And I have to thank Anne for that. So, Anne,
thank you, Anne.
You. Yep, definitely. We'll be back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back.
It is a full moon.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, for one horrible moment there, I thought I'd lost my good friend, special guest, Mary DeAsina. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I hung up on you instead of hanging up on the network. I came back early from the break. It's like it's full loony because it's the full moon. I'm telling you. Loony.
It is loony.
Indeed. So listen, Mary, again, thank you for joining me today. These phone calls that we get, I tell you, it's a rare treat. It really, really is. Now, there was a caller on the line, and I would love for you to call back in. I really would. The number you need is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. You can speak to myself and Mary. We had two callers, actually, and hopefully they'll call back in now. But Mary, while we're waiting, could I get a card pulled? Could I?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Almighty I am, all that is, for that which is meant to be in higher, greater good. Okay, they tell me that there's a teacup, not your coffee cup, thank God, but there's a teacup that they show that slipped from the hand and fell and got cracked. And they said you're moving from a dissatisfaction zone in your life, like something has morphed or shifted, and you're moving from where you felt dissatisfaction, I can talk, and you're now looking to invest, financial terms, Taurus, you're looking to invest less of your time in the area of what drained you or was too dramatic or dissatisfying, and now you're making some new creative plug-ins with what is fortifying. You know, when we're satisfied with a venue or with a person or a scenario, when we're satisfied, we're fortifying ourselves in a host of ways. And the next card that you got is the Star. Now, here's your immediate future card, and the Star says guaranteed success. So my sense is you're going to be doing something different with how you do the work you do, what you like to put your talents and your skills into. Remember, long ago in the Middle East, the coinage was called talents. So I see your talents expanding. I feel you personally being fortified, and like your whole energetic signature of your being, the mind and the body. I just feel like things are being fortified, like there's a new kind of inspirational medicine that's running through your currency with your psychology and your momentum. That's it. Your momentum has received some type of fortification, and I feel like the people coming in around you and how that's going to continue to expand out. And I keep hearing this from my guides. Tell Kev it's a win-win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And how that is an amplifier for you in a congruent way is that you really do get as much satisfaction out of someone that is advanced and wins, and it's like good for them, good for you, good for them, good for you, and so to me that's like showing up on the playground and playing fair. Like playing fair. It's like, no, yeah, I'll share my bucket in the sand. Oh, here, you used the shovel for a while. Do you need to use it a little longer? That's okay. Wow. So it's like there's a part of you that's like, I am not going to spend, again, think about worth and value, I'm not going to spend any more of my time in subject matter or around certain types of personalities or in drama zones. I'm not going to do it because I now have evidence of what's a debit and a credit in my life, and I'm going to bless myself, my family, and others by bringing my vibrations up and being loyal or pledging allegiance to those aspects of my beingness, psychologically, spiritually, physically, that I know are good for me. As I'm satisfied with myself and my energy outreach and what comes back into me, I'm going to be a blessing for anyone and everyone that I come in contact with. So I see not just your big toe testing the waters, but I feel like you're actually going to go in for the swim of dynamic change.
Oh,
how about that?
I truly love you, Mary. I really do. Not scary at all. Now, we had another caller on the line there. Please call back, because I think it was our good friend Jules.
Okay.
If Jules does phone in, she has got an absolutely fabulous story.
Good.
She phoned in to tell us her story before, but it links directly to the conversation that you had with her here on the last show that we done.
Well, that's exciting.
So I really hope Jules can phone in. Jules, I totally understand if you can't. I know you've got dramas at home and things, but if you can, it would be really great for you to kind of put that to Mary. So while we're waiting for our next caller then, Mary, what else is on your mind? In fact, there we go. There she is, right there. As if by magic. Area code 804, and I think it's our very special treasure, our very own Jules. How you doing?
Hi, Kev. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Jules.
I actually was calling in just to be different and spread some positivity and just to say hello. And if anybody has any doubt about Mary, I'm still working through my reading from last month, and things are materializing and folding. It just took me to reach out to Mary to actually see the signs, and they're literally falling into place.
Thank you.
You see what I'm saying, Mary? You see what I'm saying?
Thank you, Spirit.
You are special. Jules, it's great hearing you so upbeat as well. And I know I was sharing with Mary, but I'd love for you to tell her the lovely little story that you called in with and how it links to that call with Mary.
Oh my God, there's so many stories with me, Kev.
Remember the woman,
remember
the woman that was in your work and she made you cry. Remember you phoned in to tell us about the synchronicity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Last week, there's a supermarket like literally in the complex where my work is, and I went in, and my back was turned to her, and her back was turned to me, and all I heard was, "I'm tired of wearing this face diaper. Let me put it on so I can go in this grocery store." So right off the bat, she caught my attention because I have never heard a sweet little old lady refer to it as a face diaper. So we're in the entrance of the store, and we're talking, and I'm listening to her, and she's just, she wanted to vent about the mask and the frustrations in the world and everything that's happened. And I was talking with her, and she was kind of surprised that I knew what was going on, and I wasn't naive with the way things are ticking around in the world. So we were there, and we were chatting, and one thing led to another, and I just told her, it's like, she said, I can hug you. And I'm like, well, what's stopping you? I'm like, I don't care about a mask. Do you? And she said, no. So right there in the entrance of the store, people were coming in, looking at us like, what's wrong with them? But we were just two strangers who met, who hit it off, and we had a genuine fondness for each other, and we expressed the joy that we found in that moment by hugging. So we were talking.
You did the instant manifestation of magic. It's what you did. You trusted the magic of the gift of the now present. So your presence became a gift to each other, and the reason today is a gift, it's because it's called the present. So in the present moment, you gifted each other by soul recognition, soul appreciation, and you saying to her, I'm good with it. So you gave each other medicine that was absolutely on fire, healing in that moment.
So, but I asked her, I'm like, so what's your name? And she said, my name is Inga. So I told her, she asked me my name, and I said, my name is Julie, but most people call me Jules. And she said, oh, just like the treasure in the sea. And then we hugged one more time, and I walked away, and I was halfway down the aisle, and I had a tear, almost crying, because it struck me. It's like, those are the exact same words that Mary said.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you, of course, to Great Spirit, Holy Spirit. But I'll tell you something. The way that you said her name, now help me with foreign currencies. Isn't there like something that sounds like that called is it an ingot of gold? There's something about that word that...
You do get an ingot of gold, yeah.
Okay, so, and then you're jewels. So you can be the jewels inside a treasure, the pirate's treasure that's opened up, speaking of the sea. And I feel like that there's wealth. Our first wealth is our health. Our first wealth is our health. So that's the true prosperity. So when you gave each other the gift of wellness in that exchange of energies, our energy is a currency. You know as well as I do, and anybody out there listening, when we get off our game and we blow our stack and we're just ranting and all that, ball been there, raise my hand, preaching to the choir, sister, and we let some energy infect us temporarily, then there's got to be a process to get that thorn out of our lion paw when we go off like a lion. We got to get that thorn out of the paw and be the lion that can lay down with the lamb again and not be predators to each other. So you were medicine women to each other, and I promise you, long after that moment, you again now, reliving that moment like I had Kev go back to his childhood, go into that moment of that soft pasture of energy appreciation, the winning of the race, the support of our companions that we know have our back, and you actually hugged. So you went heart chakra to heart chakra, third eye to third eye, you like embraced, and like, we may not have known each other yet this lifetime, but I just want to bask in the wealth and the worth of this moment. That's magic.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
again,
much.
I basically was calling just to say hello and just to spread positivity, because I had a grueling day at work, but as usual, when I come home and I get in Discord or I listen to TFR through other various means, it's like I don't want to use the word spiritual cleansing, but there's something about it that brings about brighter days.
Absolutely. Well, it's illuminating. And I love their motto, we give you protection from deception. I mean, that's so powerful. That's an affirmation.
Yep.
Yep.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Listen, congratulations on the work that you're doing. Congratulations on the fact that because you chose to invest in doing the work, now the wealth and the good news is on the way. It's in the element of the ether and the air, the words that you spoke, the air quotes, chance meeting of this woman, the fact that she was tired of a face diaper and she wanted to breathe and she wanted to exchange words. Those words and the energy was going out into the atmosphere. So the air that you were wearing was supportive to each other. And you, whether people agreed with you or not, whether they were giving you the stink eye or sneering or longing to be able to have that kind of moment for themselves. There were some people that were looking on fondly, I promise you. There were people that were looking on fondly. If I had walked by you, I would have turned around and said, good on you. Well, because I'm that warrior walking this world.
Well, Jules, I have to tell you as well, you've been a very precious addition to our experience over on the Discord server. And I know that a lot of us over there do appreciate you truly. So just you keep on doing what you're doing, and we love you for it.
Wow, that's great medicine.
I'm hoping you have more callers come in, because Mary definitely is a gem herself. And if she can help anybody with their journey through this life, please don't let me hold the line up. Again, I was just calling in to say hello and to give you guys regards, and just basically let everybody know in Discord and everybody listening that if nobody told you today, you are special, you are valuable, and I love you.
Wow.
Bravo.
Wow.
Bravo. Salute.
Jules, thank you very much. And I'm glad that Jules called in, because that kind of backed up when I was thanking you for what you do. Mary, you really provided that synchronicity with the treasure that Jules brings us, and it totally worked out there in the real world. You know, Jules comes into contact with somebody else and they verbatim basically told Jules what you had told her. So that, for me, that's one of these little road signs, one of these synchronicities that you tend to find when you're on the right path, when you're at that right frequency. And talking of being on the right frequency, we're here on Truth Frequency, and we have got one more caller. Area code 720. We're going to Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the show, and I'm going to pass you over to the quite magnificently brilliant Scary Mary.
Well,
hello, caller.
Thank you, my friend Kev Baker. Hi, Mary. This is Mike in Colorado. How are you?
I love Colorado. I love Colorado. Colorado is a Leo state by the date that it was incorporated. And I've been to Garden of the Gods, and I've been to Fort Collins, and I've enjoyed the Red Rocks of the West so many times. And Colorado is a lion. It is definitely a lion. So there's a lot of power in Colorado, a lot of power. So good for you.
Lots of crazy power out here for sure. So I don't need a tarot card, but I'm sitting here watching my warrior friends who are either stuck or confused or in waiting, given the entire social reconstruction and the nonsense that's going on out there. And I just wondered if you had any action items or any ideas or anything that we as a tribe can incorporate to move this in the direction. I know you and I know Kev Baker, we know where it's headed. We know they're going to lose. We know this is going to flip over in a way that's going to liberate humanity tremendously. So just some ideas or anything you got for us that we can do in the meantime.
Okay. Life is an echo. And so what we individually or collectively send out, love the word tribe, I'm in. What we collectively and individually send forth, life is an echo, resounds back to us. So like tonight, in my time zone, I'll give you one of those tools and practices. Too many people are ADD about wanting instant results. You know, it's like there used to be a thing about instant coffee when you were on the go. Kevin and I love coffee. So you've got to put yourself in the moment by your discipline and your due diligence. Just like a soldier, a lot of times has to go through training or boot camp before they start to do rank uppage. So like tonight, part of the energy of the Scorpio moon on my time zone at 11:32 p.m. Thank God we're not going to have rain, or I'd be doing it in front of a window listening to the rain. But I'm going to go out with my sage bundle, and 8 minutes before the full moon is exact, because Scorpio is the 8th sign. So 8 minutes before the moon is exact on my time zone, in heartfelt soul to divine harmony, I'm going to sit down, and it's not going to be a meditation or any kind of prayer or affirmations, petitioning. Petitioning means you're asking for something in meditation or asking to see, asking to know. No. I'm going to be out there doing deep listening. So I expect nothing, have no expectations, but I am going to have my frankincense essential oil. I am going to have my smudge bowl. I am going to light the sacred smudge wand, the white sage, and I am going to bear witness to the holy smoke. And you don't have to always close your eyes in ceremony or meditation. When you're doing deep watching and deep listening, I will watch that smoke rise. I will watch which direction it wants to go. East, west, north, south. I'll note that in my mind because each direction means something different on the sacred wheel, the medicine wheel, the sacred hoop. And as that smoke rises, I love that part, which is the mystical part of this full moon, where you can see the smoke, you can smell the smoke, and then it goes up into the atmosphere, the air that I wear, the air that I'm a part of, in the etherical element, and you don't see the smoke anymore. It just somehow disappears. That, for me, is physical eye, visual validation that my breath, the smoke that I lit that's going up into the air, is actually becoming invisible, although I know it's there. It's still burning at the end of that smudge wand. I'm still watching it rise up, but that intersection of where it becomes one with the all that is, the atmosphere of the heavens and the sky, that I lit it on earth here below, and it's going up into the as above, and I was that conduit. I was that one that cared enough to go out there, pray for my city, pray for my country, pray for my town. Holy smoke, sacred great mystery, Wonka Tonka, great mystery, great spirit, heal all that needs to have the attention of restoration and healing. And that's, 8 minutes. I'm going to do it for 8 minutes. Anybody want to join me collectively in the world on your time zone? I'm going to be out there tonight. Nothing's going to stop me. I wait all year for this full moon and the next full moon because these, as I was taught from England, are the ascended masters, full moon. So it's written with White Eagle that what we do as a tribe, as an individual, in world or country unison, when we go out there and we take that sweet spot of like the moon tonight is 7 degrees of Scorpio Taurus. So I'm going to do 8 minutes. It'll take me a minute to get settled down and aligned. And then for those 7 minutes, which matches the mathematical degree in astronomy of this moonrise, I'm going to be a part of bearing witness to the invisibility of my supernatural divine favor and the manifestation of the supernatural, and I'm giving back to it. I'm lighting the sage or the stick of incense or the candle where you're watching the smoke go into the atmosphere, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be your dollar store candle. Light it. I choose to light the dark. I choose to be one with my Mother Nature, and I choose to create with my heavens above me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for my fortification. Thank you for this healing harmony. Thank you for my alignment. And I call, as a light worker, for the alignment and the peace into the world. I don't know how that could hurt anybody.
Now Mary and Mike, to kind of add to what you're saying here, what could people like me and Mike say to friends or family that really are kind of struggling right now? Or maybe they're caught fighting one side over another, mask, no mask, lockdown, no lockdown. What can we say to people to
long
kind of
before
help
this
them through?
situation, long before this challenge, there have been world wars, there's been Spanish flus, there's been political divides, there's been different dictators and rulers, but you came on this earth as an antenna of the divine, as above, so below, as above. And all we need to do individually when we get confused or we feel like we can't figure it out and we're just feeling the anxiety is to just allow ourselves to become aligned with where we were before, all that we are now, and how we can be sustained and healed by the upper worlds, the supreme love, the hallowed harmony, I am one with the all that is. All is now well with my soul. So you can say to that person that's pro-mask, I'm glad that that's giving you some peace of mind and peace of heart. Sit with that, be with that, percolate with that. The person that's like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm we the people and I'm not doing it. It's crap. I did it for a year and I'm not doing it. I like to see that fire of your individuality and your caring of this world. Try not to make it a battle. Try to be at peace with your choice. Just be at peace with your choice, and you don't have to go out there and solicit anybody to agree with you. If you're at peace with your choice, I don't need you or Kev or anybody else to agree with me. I'm at peace with my choice.
Yep, that's well said. That's where I'm at. Yep. So what do you say to that, Algo?
Well, so what I'm hearing is that find people where they're at, take them at their level, and remind them that it's going to be okay.
Absolutely. But what you're doing, though, is you're also making them realize they claim they're at peace getting the shot. They claim they're at peace wearing the mask. They claim they're at peace doing this or that. So say to them, so how come I don't see you peaceful with this? Why are you still fighting? Maybe it's time not to fight.
Right. Catch them where they're at and help them.
Have them own it. Have them own it and say, you're telling me that you're so relieved. You're so relieved you made these choices. Why not just celebrate that whole energy flow of this has made you feel better. This helped negate your fear. This made you feel whole again. Bask in that. Let that be your soup. Let that be your recipe that works for you, and stop trying to convert anybody about anything, because it's not your business. Your choice is your business, and you need to walk the walk and not talk the talk. And if you don't like politics, stop campaigning out there. Period.
Right. And if they're not happy with that choice, make another choice, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like Kev said at the beginning of the show, got a couple of pathways in front of you. You can take the path of darkness and vitriol and vampirism, and unless everybody agrees with you that there's something wrong with them, or you can just put that foot on the light path and say, I'm off to see the wizard, and I already know that I'm Oz.
I like where the wizards reside. That's where I'm heading, Mary.
Thanks for taking my call, Kevin. Thank you for your
tribe.
Time,
thank you for
thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you,
Take
Mike.
care, guys.
Thank you. Listen, Mary.
Salud.
This has been absolutely tremendous. Yeah, again, you knock it out the park every time. One last time, remind people about the show you've got coming up next with Joe Roop. And a big shout out to the team over there at Fringe FM. And obviously your website and social media, Mary.
Thank you, Captain Kevin. Thank you, all audience. And if you're listening to this on replay, if you want to go back and hear it again and again, just percolate in the peace, like he was talking about with tribe. Whatever's going on in your world, like Kev so succinctly asked, what can we do with the people that are struggling? Struggle and anxiety can become contagious. I'm going to leave you with this before I tell you how to connect with me. Energy has 3 words I want you to write down and memorize. Energy has its AFFECTS. It affects us. Energy has effects upon our psyche, EFFECTS, and energy can infect us, INFECTS. So be more cognizant of how you're letting the energy waves and the frequencies operate in your world. You're the director. You're not just the writer. You're not just the actress or actor. You are the director. So change the navigation of your relationship with energy. So I'm at MaryDeAsina.com. I'll be on May 11th on LightingTheVoid.com with Captain Joe Roop.
May the 11th with Joe Roop, and she'll be back on the 26th of May for the lunar eclipse right here. Stay tuned for Lucky after the break. Wherever you are, make it TFR, and check out MaryDeAsina.com.